If you ever find yourself taken hostage by an armed cartel, survival experts will tell you to keep your head down. The absolute worst strategy is to insult the people holding the weapons, boss them around, and demand they ask for a higher ransom. But in 75 BC, the Aegean Sea was a dangerous place. The waters were largely controlled by the Cilician pirates, highly organized, heavily armed raiders operating a lucrative maritime kidnapping ring. During a routine crossing, these pirates hijacked a Roman vessel and captured a 25-year-old patrician. He held no major military command and was still relatively untested, but his name was Gaius Julius Caesar. For most victims of these cartels, the outcome was grim. Captives who couldn't pay were quickly executed or sold into a life of slavery. Submission was the expected reality. Instead, Caesar began acting as if he weren't a prisoner at all, treating the power imbalance as a shared delusion that he simply refused to participate in. The pirates started negotiations by setting a high price for their new captive. They demanded 20 talents of silver. To put that into perspective, a single talent was roughly equivalent to several lifetimes' worth of wages for an average laborer. This chart shows the lifetime wage of a worker compared to the massive 20-talent ransom. Yet when Caesar heard the demand, he laughed. He told them they clearly had no idea who they had kidnapped and insisted they ask for 50 talents instead. This was a use of what we now call a value anchor. By forcing his captors to lock his worth at a mathematically absurd number, the dynamics changed. Look at the secondary metric on this chart. The risk of execution drops as perceived value rises. He priced himself out of the disposable cargo category. At 50 talents, he was an indispensable asset that the pirates literally could not afford to harm. For the next 38 days, Caesar lived among his captors, completely refusing to adopt the posture of a victim. When he wanted to sleep at night, he didn't quietly find a corner. He sent orders to the pirate vards, commanding them to stop talking and keep the noise down. During the day, he composed poetry and speeches. He would call the pirates together, force them to listen to his recitations, and if they failed to applaud his work, he loudly berated them as illiterate savages. This was status as equality where the roles were reversed. Through sheer confidence, he treated the pirates not as his armed captors, but as his own royal bodyguards. The pirates were disarmed. They attributed his arrogance to a sort of quirky charm, missing the genuine hostility behind it. That hostility was clearly stated. On multiple occasions, Caesar delivered a specific, deadpan promise. The moment his ransom was paid and he was freed, he would return and crucify every single one of them. The pirates laughed it off. To them, it was just a dark inside joke from their eccentric guest. But Caesar was being transparent. Even while surrounded by armed men, he was the one setting the final terms of their relationship. Eventually, Caesar's associates returned from the city of Miletus with the 50 talents of silver. The transaction was completed, and Caesar was released back onto the mainland. He didn't go home to recover. He bypassed the slow Roman bureaucracy, immediately raised a private naval fleet, and sailed straight back toward the island. The pirates were caught completely off guard. They were still stationed at the same spot, counting out his ransom money, when Caesar ambushed the camp and captured them all. He brought his prisoners back to the coast, expecting official justice. But the regional governor of Asia hesitated, likely hoping to extract some of the pirate silver for himself before issuing a sentence. Caesar had no interest in waiting on a corrupt politician. He bypassed the governor, marched to the prison at Pergamon, extracted the pirates himself, and crucified the entire group, exactly as he had promised. He did make one small concession. Because he had grown somewhat close to them during those 38 days, he ordered that their throats be slit before the crucifixion began, as a gesture of mercy. Caesar didn't survive because the pirates were lenient. He survived because he refused to negotiate from a position of weakness, regardless of his physical reality. This 38-day crucible was a projection of authority that didn't rely on a title or an army, a preview of the same relentless confidence he would later use to dismantle the Roman Republic itself.